Welcome to the Business Leaders Legacy Podcast, the show where we go behind the scenes with business leaders to uncover their vision, strategies, and challenges they face along the way. My name is Chris Bruner, the CEO of Simple AI Solutions and the host of today's podcast. I'm excited to have Oliver Anwar, owner of Elite Performance. Oliver is known for helping CEOs, founders, and other leaders lose 20 to 40 pounds and get their hormones in balance using science-backed methods. This helps them get back in their energy and focus without giving up their demanding careers. So, Oliver, thank you for being here. Please, can you share with our listeners a little bit about you, your journey, and what Elite Performance does?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. So I'm Oliver. I run Elite Performance, which is a digital wellness company for entrepreneurs and executives. And what we really focus on is helping entrepreneurs and executives optimize their health through their own biology. So we focus on doing some extensive testing, getting blood work done, and then building a plan around that helps them, get in better shape, lose the body fat, build the muscle, but more importantly, improve that internal health and those internal health markers that drive energy, performance, leadership, and everything else. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and what we do.
Yeah, no, so cool. It's so cool. There's so many approaches nowadays where, it's about fitness and it's about eating, but it's so interesting that like you guys take it so much deeper because there is a lot that goes on, with just hormones within the body and things that can affect like health and wellness in general and especially with demanding careers, long hours, high stress, that's really interesting. It's really cool. And so just to kind of dive in a little bit more, you've noticed that most leaders, tend to, give up their health for business. What makes you so passionate about helping them get it back? And what's the most important rule behind those plans at Elite Performance?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the reasons why I'm big on helping executives and founders specifically with their health is because I'm an executive and founder myself. So I'm a founder of my own company. I run a small business here, but that's growing. But I kind of understand the demands of long hours, the demands of high stress, the demands of client dinners, travel, all of these things that happen. And to give you a short story, when I was in London working my corporate job. I was actually running my business alongside this. And during this time, I was working 16-hour days. I was so stressed. I had so much going on. I was like pretty depressed. I was lonely. My health took a nosedive. And I kind of realized at this point that to get this back on track, it does take a system that's going to be personalized to my lifestyle, but most importantly, something that's more personalized to me. So something that's going to reflect like my biology, because if I give you a plan, Chris, and I tell you to do one thing, that could be completely different from what I give to somebody else because their biology is completely different. They've got different stresses, different challenges. So one of the most important rules behind elite performance is everything we do is customized. It's based on your biology. It's not cookie cutter, and it helps you navigate the challenges of travel, business, family, lots of things that happen within your life that, maybe an Instagram influencer will say, hey, get to the gym for 2 hours a day. Well, if you're running a company, that's just not possible, right? Are they going to tell you to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice every day? That's not possible when you've got client dinners and hotels to stay at and conferences, right? So again, we really build this around like the data, the precision is very important. And then also the adaptability around your lifestyle, making it sustainable so it can fit around what you've got going on.
Yeah. No, that is so important because it's so easy just to think like, yeah, just like you said, the example, like, yeah, chicken and rice, like veggies, have all that stuff, but there's so much more that goes into that it is so hard for so many people working so much and yeah, that totally makes sense. That's really cool. It's really interesting to see how all that plays into it and comes together. And so yeah, awesome. Well, diving into a little bit about the industry and trends that you're seeing, I wanted to know, are there any new trends or technologies that you're using at Elite Performance within the programs right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things we do is obviously extensive blood work. So as you probably know right now, you can actually get really advanced levels of blood work done. And when you go to your do your annual physical, you go to like your local doc. Sometimes they miss some of the most important health markers that are there. So what we do is actually implement something that's kind of much more advanced. And there are also like technologies that you can use. So there's something called like a DEXA scan, which is pretty cool. So this is like a bone density scan, which is like the most accurate way to measure body fat and muscle mass. And this is great because a lot of people are like, well, I probably think I'm 20% body fat. I've got a lot of muscle. Well, when you do a DEXA scan, like that's going to tell you the truth, right? It's going to tell you exactly how much muscle you've got, how much fat you got, your bone density, and most important, like what the visceral fat looks like inside your organs too. So that's like the most important thing to look at. We also use like up-to-date apps for our clients as well, which is great. And as you probably know, like AI is such a huge thing now. So like throughout all areas of our business, we're incorporating AI. So from kind of like the marketing standpoint, for sales, part of our delivery as well, we use AI, not for like the client facing stuff, because we are very kind of like personalized and one to one. But when we're looking at like structuring like admin tasks and structuring other things, AI actually plays a big role in helping us be more efficient.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And that's really interesting because yeah, it sounds like just as I'm like understanding more and more and what I was able to understand about your business beforehand, it is definitely that personal face is so important, right? But being able to leverage AI on the back end is super interesting because that is definitely a trend in a lot of businesses now because no one wants to lose that personal edge, right? People still want to talk to people. And so using AI for those back end things, those repetitive tasks, those admin tasks, that seems to be what's definitely becoming more and more popular. I'm wondering if you don't mind, like maybe breaking that down a little bit more and some of the stuff you guys do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start from a marketing point of view. So when we're writing content, we want our content to be unique, but we also want to like do a lot of like research on like, okay, what content is performing really well and what content isn't. So for example, if you see, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I've been posting for years now. So we've got a lot of data through the LinkedIn dashboard of like, okay, what's our best performing posts? Like, what are the ones that bring in the leads? What brings in the clients? And I'm able to actually like put all of like the best data into AI and say, hey, look, based on the last 365 days of content, what are my best performers? What are the outliers? Like, what are the things that I need to double down on? What are the things that are great to continue using? And from that, we can like tweak our hooks. We can come up with content ideas, focus on the right topics, and then know that what we're putting out is actually going to get results. So that's really one area that's really useful for that.
Yeah, and that totally makes sense because that's exactly the right way to do it, right? I feel like it's so easy, especially as more and more companies are adopting AI and trying to input it in certain areas, right? If you're not testing and adjusting and making sure you're getting the most accurate, delivery as possible, you end up don't seeing the results that you want or the results that you expected, right? And so doing it that way is a huge testament to your success and honestly even your following. You mentioned just to your horn, like 60, you're up to 60,000 followers, right?
Yeah, nearly 70,000 now, so approaching
That
70,000.
is
Yeah.
awesome. That is super cool. Well, yeah, that is super cool to hear how you guys are leveraging that and just staying on top of like the cutting edge. And so that's super cool. I wanted to know a little bit more, what are some maybe like common health myths or old ways of thinking that you still see some successful leaders using, and how does elite performance offer a new science-based approach?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the big things that people are seeing now is those fad diets and like the extreme approaches to fitness just don't work, especially if you're a busy executive. So, these can be very extreme, like cutting foods out, things like shake diets. It can be doing things like 75 hard or like these really like short but extreme ways of approaching your fitness. And the issue with these is, yeah, they do work, right? Short term, you lose a little bit of weight, you get into a good you swing of things, but then you have a business trip come up or you have a really busy period with your business and you're not able to do two workouts a day and read 10 pages of books because you're putting out fires within the company, right? It's just not sustainable with your lifestyle. So instead of looking at it that way and saying how much fat can I lose in 6 weeks or how can I get my health back on track in 6 weeks, it's like, well, let's have a look over the course of the year. And one of the things we do is we do like 6 months and 12-month programs because we say to people, look, like we're not going to fix this overnight, but what we're going to do is we're going to use data. We're going to get the blood work done. We're going to get real insights into your body to see what's been slowing you down for years. Based off of that, we're going to build a custom plan that's all based on science and based on what actually works for sustainable habits, and then help you get into great shape, but actually continue to get in great shape, right? Because the statistics out there show that 95% of people that get on a weight loss program or a fitness program fail. Right, 95% of people regain weight back or go back to square one, and so many people go through these cycles of like, okay, first quarter of the year is really busy. Okay, cool. I'm not going to do much. Oh, Q2 is a bit quieter. I'm going to get into things better. You make some fitness progress. Oh, summer comes, boom, and then you're back down. And there's always this up and down cycle that happens because people don't have this like baseline sustainable plan that happens. So because we're able to look at their blood work, we're able to look at things over a longer period of time and get a long bit of data. We can then be like, okay, cool. This is what things should look like sustainably for you, not just for the next year, but for the next 2, 3 years. This is how to approach things to actually continue to get great results. So that's a little bit of what we focus on with what we do.
Yeah, and that's there's definitely a lot to unpack there. That's super cool, right? Because it is like I feel like, just to be honest, I've been on those like super intense like workout meal plans, do this like, 2 month thing where yeah, you see the results, but it's just not sustainable, and for busy lifestyles, but even for just a regular lifestyle at the time I was just a young typical job trying to get these all these like health and fitness goals, and it's just the truth is it's just not sustainable, right? And I totally understand that. That's really cool having that vision for the long term, right? That change that will last sounds like it's like the foundation of your business, which is so cool. So cool.
Absolutely.
I wanted to shift and just kind of talk a little bit more about just the currently where you guys are at. So on the business side of things, what is working really well at Elite Performance?
Yeah. So one of the things that's working really well right now is the clients that we're getting in are very much the type of clients that we want to work with. So from like a messaging standpoint, from our marketing, it's really working, but also the results we're getting are really good. Now, I don't want to just say that that's down to me. We've got a great coaching team that we've actually built that's really helping with that, and that's really working. And a big shift that we made was actually incorporating this blood work. And we started doing this last year where like when a client signs up, we get all the comprehensive panels done and all this data done. And I know I'm talking about this a lot, but it's been a big game changer for us as a business because people don't just come in and just have to guess now of like, okay, is this the right diet plan? Is this the right supplements to take? Am I focused on my hormones now, or is it my metabolism that's the issue? Like we've got the data and the numbers there. And then obviously that helps us inform the way we coach, because when we understand where somebody's at and what their goals are, we can see where that gap is, and then that program fills in the gap for them. So that is working really well for us right now.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. Having that customized plan for them just seems so much better, right? Because the
Mhm.
truth is, yeah, it's not one size fits all, right? It's so many different factors. And so, yeah. And on the flip side of things, every business goes through challenges. Can you share maybe a past challenge at Elite Performance that you guys overcame, and what did you learn through that challenge?
Yeah, so I think challenges before have been from a marketing standpoint. So when you're having less leads come into the business, I think that's the biggest one for most small businesses is when that isn't happening. And there's been a lot of changes to algorithms over the years and a lot of changes to the way social media is. And I think the most important thing and what I learned from that experience is you've got to be adaptable, and you've just got to remember that as an entrepreneur, things are always changing, and you've got to be adaptable and resilient to these changes, which means implementing things quickly that change. Like AI is a big one now, right? And I want to talk about this because, AI comes, and if you've seen LinkedIn now, everybody's posting AI content, but, some of the content's good, some of the content's poor, but some of the content's still great, right? So it's like, if everyone's using AI, it's about using it in the right way. So you want to come up with your own voice when you're kind of marketing, right? You want to know that you're speaking to the right people. You want to know that the content that you're putting out is going to be specific to that ICP, and then wording it in a way that shares your own voice. Everybody's seen the content on LinkedIn where it's like chat GPT content. You can see the M dashes. You can see that it's structured in the exact same way for all the posts. And people are breezing past that now because they're like, oh, well, this is just AI slop. Someone's just gone into chat GPT and spent 2 minutes putting a post up and posted this. They sometimes use a AI chat GPT image as well, which isn't always the greatest because that just shows that like they're posting something that's 100% done by AI. And people switch off from that. So what we realize is we're actually able to put out more content now on our company page, on our coaches pages, on my page, on different channels, but we're also able to like really edit the quality of what we do. And that really comes down to like when you are using the AI agents specifically for content, is like making sure that you tweak things, that you iterate, that you prompt it correctly, and you really have an end product that you're happy with, where you're like, well, I just read this post. I couldn't tell if AI's wrote it or not. It's really like that good in that voice. So yeah, I think that that's been a really, really big challenge and something I've learned a lot from.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. It is spot on, right? Just being in the industry and running an AI agency myself, like you definitely have to prompt things in the right way, right? And it that totally makes sense. I wanted to know what are maybe some like current challenges you guys are facing, a problem, any like bottlenecks or things that may be taking up too much time, anything currently challenging?
Right now, we're actually in a pretty good spot, to be honest, in regards to how things are going. I think the challenge with anything in the fitness industry that people find is that the industry is very saturated. Now, I say that not in a negative way, but there's so many people now wanting to become health coaches, fitness coaches, and now with AI, people can post content that's maybe not them, and try and build a brand from it. So the one of the things that we're working on and continuing to be good at is just our positioning and just leveraging like the company story, my story, and really speaking to like our ICP of person that we work with. I think that's good. And another thing is obviously like the sales side of things, right? So I think on the sales side, we're starting to grow our business. I'm still taking sales calls, taking a lot of sales calls, but soon we're going to have to implement like a sales team and like closers to come in and help with that kind of stuff. So that's going to be the next kind of challenge and frontier is to bring that on. But again, like with AI, it's great. It's like, we've got Fathom up here as well. You can literally put your Fathom transcript into an AI agent, and if it's prompted correctly and you've given it a good baseline of sales, it can fully analyze your sales calls and tell you where you're messing up, what to improve, what a structure and framework should be like. So if you are employing someone to be your next closer or your next salesperson, they can just read through like the system that you've built for them via AI, and you've got it right. So as when there's problems, there are always solutions, and I think that AI is really helping that now, making things more efficient. A task that would usually take hours and hours before, or even days, can now be done in 40 seconds or a minute with AI. So yeah. Even design as well. Design's another thing. So one of the challenges we had was designing. We would use other things like Canva to design things, and oh my God, it would take ages to try and even get that done, to get all of these, personalized meal plans out and structured in like the nice design that we want. But with AI, we've now formulated an agent which actually creates us really professional documents and designs that we can now knock out to clients, and they're impressed with, and they're like, wow, that's great. And it's taken us 40 seconds, whereas like myself or my team, it could have taken us days to get that done, or a whole day of work. So yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's spot on. That's really cool. It's definitely a lot that goes into it. With definitely prompting those agents in the right way and helping it do those redundant tasks. And so that totally makes sense. And you touched into it a little bit when you mentioned the sales team, but I did want to know, looking towards the future, maybe like 6 months to a year, what is a goal that you guys are focused on achieving? Maybe if it is that sales team, if you like opening up and diving into that a little bit more.
Absolutely. So our goal this year is continued growth in regards to all of our channels. Our social media, bringing in new clients, and actually being making the big business function to as much point without me. Now, what that means is actually getting the sales team in place that takes the sales calls, and like me actually being the person that just actually helps lead the team. That's the focus for this year because with where we're at and where the growth is, if we can have someone that takes the sales side of things, the business can be fully running, and I could be on holiday for 2 weeks. Yes, I might have to work and do a little bit here and there, but actually making that a lot more automated and actually operationally running. But for the future. So yeah, that's what it looks like in regards to a plan.
Yeah, no, that is exciting. That's exciting place to be. It's just like future focused and on growth, and thinking about that next level of growth, are there like diving into it a little bit more, are there like specific investments with like more staff or more tools or different types of strategies that you guys are looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big things is obviously hiring, obviously closer and sales team. That's going to be big. Hiring more coaches for the team as well, because the coaches are going to help deal with the demand of new clients that we're getting. And we've currently got another part-time coach that we've just hired right now, but more are going to start to become full-time as we grow. And then from another angle is kind of like the marketing side, and that's going to be ads. So actually coming in and looking at, okay, how can we actually utilize LinkedIn ads to grow our business even more? That's going to be another thing that we're going to be focusing on with that. And again, like everything that underlies this as well is kind of like AI helps support this so much. So like as a founder, like you're able to run ad scripts through AI. You're able to, like check which like hook is the best, right? You're able to put in data and not be emotional about it and like tell AI to be like, look, what is like the best option here? Don't answer it from an emotional standpoint, and AI will give you the most non-emotional bit of analysis on that, which I think is great. So for us, that's really big. We're also going to be looking to like get into more offline ways of marketing too. So join in like membership groups where there's a big portion of our ICP there speaking at conferences and events, and you can probably see like as the growth happens and we outsource bits to the team that can I can delegate, I can then go out and do other things like go and speak at conferences, travel to meet people, go to these masterminds and actually grow the business offline, which in this world of online and AI, that I think that personal touch and that like personal presence is going to be so important for
Yeah.
businesses, especially personal brand businesses too, that are founder led. Really just doing those events and those conferences are going to be big, and building those physical communities too, right? Where you bring your clients in person to meet you and meet your team and meet the people in the business. Yeah, those are some big things that we're looking at.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Yeah, having that focusing on, the two aspects of the outreach and then also making your brand a magnet to draw clients in. That's huge. And doing those events are definitely something that can be super impactful. So yeah, that's super cool, super exciting. And so to think about it just a little bit more, or I guess dive a little deeper, are there any specific challenges related just to that part of it, right? Reaching that level of growth, just over the next 6 months as you are pursuing that growth, I guess so to say.
Yeah, I think there's going to be lots of challenges. I think firstly is going to be around obviously hiring the right people that are going to come in. That's going to be really big. The second is going to be actually learning what LinkedIn ads are like and how to actually run those properly and what's effective, what's not, and getting a good understanding of what that is. And then just being really laser focused on the events that we are doing and the conferences that we are going to hopefully speak at and the conference masterminds that we're going to join, like which ones are going to give us the best ROI, right? As business owners, we always think in terms of ROI. There are millions of things that you can do and try, but I think just lasering in on okay, what's going to give us the best upside? Where can we help the most people? Where what makes sense the most is going to be really big for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's exciting. I'm excited to see where you'll end up going and just how the growth will come this next year. I'm excited to be following it and watching it. Um,
Thanks, man.
yeah, well, Oliver, I've really enjoyed the conversation and the chat and the insights that you brought. It's really cool. It's really interesting to hear just the approach that you guys have and how you guys just stand out and are different compared to other, companies that are servicing is the same type of client profile, right? Those executives with busy schedules and you guys take a very different approach, which is awesome. It probably stands out to the success that you've had. And all the insights you gave her have been super great, and so I really appreciate it. But before we go, can you please share with our listeners a little bit more where they can learn about you, your programs, and what you have going on?
Absolutely. So you can find me on my website, the company website, which is fitnessforentrepreneurs.com. So nice and easy one to remember there. And then if you go on to LinkedIn and you search my name, Oliver Anwar, I'm active on there. I'm also active on X, which was formerly Twitter. If you search my name, you'll find me on there. And also on YouTube as well. So if you just search Oliver Anwar, you'll be able to find me. So yeah, those are some areas you can find me. And also, if you do want to join my newsletter as well, which is on my website and via my socials, that's also great. You're going to get some really personal and actionable insights into health and performance as a busy executive. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, to close, I would like to ask one last question. Since this is the Business Leaders Legacy podcast, you being a business leader, the founder of Elite Performance, can you please share what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Mm, awesome question. And for me, the legacy that I want to leave behind is a legacy of chasing and continuing to embody excellence. I think that it's really important that as leaders, we showcase excellence, we preach it to people, but more importantly, we actually live by that, right? We live by that code of excellence throughout everything we do. That doesn't just mean your career, that doesn't just mean your relationship, it also means your health as well. All right. It's about filling up all of those buckets and having all the excellence. Because I believe if we can continue to demand excellence from ourselves and embody that, it makes our lives better. It makes the lives of other people around us better. And it's just the best way to live. So that's my parting words for people.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, it was really cool. Thank you for all of the insight you brought. It really has been awesome just hearing about you and your company and the approach that you guys have. Super cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you again for all of the listeners out there. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you again, Oliver.
Thank you, man.